Birgitte Knaus, welcome to a little interview here that I've asked you to do. And you're in Spain, correct?
I'm in Spain, yes, south of Barcelona.
Yeah, and Paola Harris, a good friend of yours and mine, has invited you to Starworks USA, which is going to be in, I think, November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Laughlin, Nevada, and you're one of the speakers. And I told Paola, I think we should make sure that the American audience knows who these foreign speakers are. And so can you tell me what you're going to talk about at Paola's conference, and we'll go from there.
Well, we have several subjects Paola was interested in me talking about. The first one maybe, or because I am involved since 7 years with the Bosnian Pyramids. I mean, this is a very dear subject to me because I've been really close to this project. As I became, in 2011, I became the representative of the Bosnian Pyramids in Spain and Latin America. And at that time, what happened is I went there as a volunteer, and I was very, very deeply impressed with this whole project. Not only because it was something so unusual, but it was also something which was not understood by lots of people, and especially the scientific community. And I mean, if you go there and feel the area and see what happens there, I mean,
what are these pyramids? Can you sort of explain what we're talking about here?
All right. We're talking here about a valley of 5 pyramids, which were discovered by Dr. Sam Osmanagic, who is a born Bosnian, but spent a long, long time in the United States. Well, anyway, so he opened some factories, some aluminum or metallurgic factories in Houston, Texas. So one day he goes back to visit his family in Bosnia, in Sarajevo, when a friend of him shows him a village and says, you have to come and visit this village because there is a very interesting museum you might be interested to see. Sam, before that, for 12 years or more, has been investigating pyramids all over the world as a hobby. No, excuse me, not only a hobby. He also is an anthropologist, and he studied Mayan cultures and was very deeply involved into pyramids. So he traveled by himself all over the world, finding places, countries all over the world with so many hundreds of pyramids. And then he started writing books about it. And so one day when he came back to visit his family in Sarajevo and goes to visit Visoko with his school friend, he discovered there is a pyramid there. I mean, there's a hill, which is called the Visosica Hill. And he said, oh my God, but this has a totally pyramidal shape. And so he was very intrigued and spoke to the director of the museum and asked him please to show him and tell him a little bit more about this place. He said, no, this is just we all know it as a hill, that's all, because it was covered in trees. Anyway, so they drove up to the top when he suddenly saw, and Sam always had his compass with him. So he pointed it and saw that this was the most accurate pyramid he had ever been on. He said it was more accurate than the Giza pyramid in Egypt. Oh. It pointed 0 degrees towards north, 0 degrees, 0 minutes, and only 12 seconds of deviation, which wow. has never been seen on this planet before. And then comparing to all the other pyramids he has been, especially the one in Giza, who is, I think, 2 minutes deviation. And so, so from this moment on, he saw that enormous valley in front of him, and saw the next one opposite him, another pyramid. And then he immediately named the big one where he's standing on the Sun Pyramid, because it was the most powerful one. Then he saw the next one opposite and named it the Moon Pyramid. So then he discovered these two to start with, and he said there must be a tunnel system under this pyramid, as this is the case with all the pyramids, or the main pyramids we know in the world. And so what happened is he immediately started to write about it and spread it to all the news media. And they all came in September. Suddenly, they all came to Visoko, and there was a huge, everybody was very excited about this discovery. And I mean, CNN and ABC and BBC, and they all came, and National Geographic, and named them. So then he wrote this article and started to write a book about this new discovery. Then subsequently, he continued discovering more pyramids on the same valley. The next one was the Pyramid of Love, which is right next to the Pyramid of the Sun. Then at the end of this valley, we have this large kind of pyramid, which has a very different shape, which is a half-moon shaped pyramid called the Temple of Mother Earth. And then the fifth pyramid was discovered again later, right behind the valley, behind there, and that was called the Dragon Pyramid, Pyramid of the Dragon. A part of these pyramids, we also have got two tumuli. That means the Vratnica, the tumulus of Vratnica, which is slightly larger even than the biggest one we know in the world today, which is in Avebury in England. So this is even higher, and it's a very powerful one. Then we have another smaller one called Ginje, which is also near the Pyramid of the Dragon. Then finally, he was so eager to find the tunnel system. So what happened? He started asking children, because nobody was giving him any information. And a part of one tunnel, which was very exciting, very interesting, but he said there is another one, there must be more to that. So then he started talking to children. He said, where do you go and play? Are there any caves where we can go and see? Do you hide in caves? And so he said, yes. One little child said, yes, we always go to that cave over there. And that was in the Ravne area. So they went there, he went in there and excavated a little bit and saw it was actually a cave entrance. But it was very strange, it had been covered. It was a cave, really man-made cave, but it had been subsequently covered for some awkward, we don't know what the reason was at that time. Today we do. And so then he started getting a team of people to start digging, to find out more what's all about. So they started taking away something which is called loose gravel. Okay. Loose gravel, which it was hidden, filled in with, but the original shape was there. And the funny thing is that from there, it's not a tunnel, it's a labyrinth. So it has got many, many tunnels which go to all directions. So the more he was excavating, the more he would find those called dry walls. Dry walls are about a meter or meter and a half, something like that, of big, round or oval-shaped stones which came from the river. So they always built that wall first to block another tunnel. And then on top of that, they filled it with loose gravel and sand from the river and the whole tunnel behind. So every time we see one of those dry walls, we know, here's another tunnel. And but what Sam wanted from the beginning, he said he needed to go towards the pyramid, towards the north wall of the pyramid, because that's the only way we can go inside the pyramid, because the pyramid is the most, it has a material which is so strong that it has the hardest concrete. It's first of all made of a concrete which is man-made.
Okay.
It has tested, it has been, by many different universities and so on. It's a polymer. It's a polymer which is absolutely artificially made, and it's extremely hard. When we measure it with Pascal, megapascals are the measurements for hardness. For example, if we measure today's cement or concrete, which is the best quality one we know on this planet, which is the German one or the American one, then we go from 10 megapascal to about 60 megapascal, which is the highest quality. But here they measured, it starts from 75 to 133 mega or 34 megapascal, which is double, more than double as hard as concrete.
Wow.
Apart of that, they found out that it has got an, when concrete, it's very important that it doesn't permeate water, so it has to be impermeable. And so the best quality, they say, okay, up to 3% water is allowed to seep in. And here we have only 1%.
Wow.
Why is this important? Because in wintertime, when water seeps in, then it breaks it. It breaks the blocks if it would go deeper.
Yeah.
Right? So we wouldn't have those pyramids lasting so long, like the ones we have there.
Yes.
And so then later on, a part of that, I've got about 10 different things which obviously show these are pyramids. Without any doubt. We have got right angle slopes. We have got 4 sides, very clear 4 sides, although the south side is the most damaged one because of earthquakes and landslides and all kind of diluviums. How do you say? The planet went through. So, no wonder. The pyramid is not perfect, but it's pretty clear that it has got 3 sides which are pretty clear. And
were they able to date this? Do you have any dates for when they thought it was built?
Yes, and then we started dating. Then he started finding. They were asking all the volunteers, which come from all over the world, from about 52, now there are more than 60 countries. Wow. They're coming every year. Hundreds and hundreds of volunteers helping us to excavate. A part of his team he already has throughout the winter as well. So then one day they found one Filipina girl, volunteer, found a fossilized leaf between one of the blocks, the big blocks on the pyramid. So that was already a very good sample. So they did the carbon dating for that. So what came out, that first leaf was dated about, that one was, 29,000, over 29,000 years. But as they always say, you can't trust completely the carbon dating 100%, so you always have to add a little bit, a few years more. So all around it, so far, we have come to a date of 34,000 years old.
Wow.
Meaning these are the oldest pyramids in the world so far. Not only that, they are also the highest pyramids in the world, because the pyramid itself, if we compare it so far with the Giza pyramid, which has 147 meters height, the Pyramid of Bosnia, just starting from where the tree line starts up, which is not the full size. So far it has been measured 220 meters. But
Wow.
in reality, we find out, and it's very clear, that the angle, the corner, especially the northeast corner, goes all the way down to the valley, to the river. And the east-south corner, the same. So that whole face goes right down to the river. So from there, it must be more than 350, 370, maybe over 400 meters high. So, I mean, and now they're saying, all right, but do we know that this stops here? Because over thousands and thousands of tens of thousands of years, how much earth has been accumulating on the ground? So we don't know. Maybe it continues. I mean, it's a monster. It's a huge thing. It's the biggest one we have on this planet. So then the most amazing, most interesting thing of all started when so many scientists came from all over the world to measure the energies. The energies are just incredible. They found out especially that it measured, then they started measuring all over the place the different the length, how do you say, electromagnetism, which is a field which goes all over the world, and it goes horizontal, yes? And it's a field of several colors, in which Dr. Harry Oldfield discovered. He's an English scientist, and he discovered this machine which can measure it. So he has been traveling all over the place, all over the world, and came to visit Visoko. And he was quite amazed that over there, he measured and photographed it, because you can see it and you can film it. Yeah, he has a machine which films it. So you can see everywhere it's normal, it all goes like this, all parallel or horizontal. And suddenly, when it hits the pyramid, the sun pyramid, it suddenly, all the rays go up like that, all up. And the same thing at the moon pyramid, same thing at the love pyramid, the mother of, temple of Mother Earth, and the other one is the dragon pyramid, but also the two tumuli, especially the Vratnica, all of them have that. So they say, what is this? Why do we find this phenomena? So then other people came, scientists came, and like Heike Savolainen from Sweden, and another one from Croatia and Serbia, and I mean, they all came to measure. So what happened is they found out that there is all over the place, it's a normal hertz energy, you know, the energy field. So they measured it all around the valley, it's all normal, and then they went up to the pyramid and to the point, up to the summit of the pyramid. There suddenly, from one moment it goes normal, boom, it goes up suddenly, and it starts keeping up, and it went straight up to 28 kilohertz.
Wow.
From and the other thing which is wonderful there in the valley is that the energy normally is ideal for human beings, which is 7.83 hertz, which is the Schumann resonance. And so we still have that there, thank God. And that's why people feel so good there and so happy and so positive, and everybody's full of energy and so on because of that. Now, then they found out, what is this 28 kilohertz? Then they found out it goes up, straight up. Then the scientists started to say, this we know already from another great inventor who has been silenced over the last 100 years. We all know, who was born very close to Visoko, about 200 kilometers away, and that was Nikola Tesla. So Nikola Tesla was the one who discovered, again, rediscovered the Tesla coil, or this energy, which is very, very important, which is scalar energy. It's called scalar energy. And it goes up. And then they found out later on that scalar energy, what it does, it starts, I mean, the diameter of this, the diameter of this ray is 4.5 meters. So it goes up and up. At 20 meters, it goes up and gets widens up to 20 meters. Then it goes up 20 meters again, and it comes back to 4.5 meters. And so successively, continuously into infinity. But then they found out through drones and so on, they took this measuring machine and put it up and went with the drone. Then they found out that the higher you go, the faster, the stronger the sign becomes. So it's contrary to what physics today know about electricity. The further you go away from your plug, where you plug in your device, the further you go, the weaker the energy will be, or but here's the opposite. The further you go away from the source, let's say it's the top of the pyramid, the stronger the signal goes into space. So where does it go? So it goes first in direction to the sun. That was discovered this year, beginning of this year. That in reality, that ray always points towards the sun. Where the sun gets up in the east, the ray turns over to the east. And so during the day it goes up to the north, up to straight, and then it goes towards the west, south, and then west. That's it. So what is that? What does that mean? Not only that, oh my God, this is a big subject. I mean, I can't put it in a few words. It's so fascinating, because we have to take into consideration what actually creates that energy. Why? So the energy is created through the huge tunnel system, which is it's tens of thousands of kilometers. It's enormous. It's the biggest tunnel system in the world. It's a labyrinth system. So these tunnels, it's another subject which is absolutely, I could go on for an hour talking about it. Underneath, some parts of the tunnels are filled with water. There are lakes. There are all kind of tunnels in which there were found. But underneath those tunnels, there is a huge underground river system. Yeah. And these river systems, they create energy. Through this energy, flowing water always creates energy, electricity. And those come up to the tunnels. And what they found inside the tunnels are the most incredible stones called the megaliths. Very man-made megaliths. They're huge. Well, they're quite big stones, which are obviously man-made. And they have been tested and so on.
How big are the tunnels? Like when you're in the tunnel, how high is it? How wide is it? And is man-made?
Yeah. The interesting thing, first of all, before I answer to you that, is everybody gets amazed by the energy in there. By the air is so fresh, as if you are up in the mountains, or next to Niagara Falls. That's the energy in the air, the purity of the air. So then they found out. Sorry, your question was.
Well, the sort of the size of the tunnel when you're in it is how high, how wide is it man-made?
Everybody was asking, why is the tunnel so fresh? Why is it? So then they found out maybe it is because the tunnel is not straight, not always the same height, but it goes up and down and up and down. So the heights are always changing. So meaning sometimes you have to go and go down a little bit to go through the tunnel, and that's why we all wear those caskets, those helmets. We have to put helmets on so we don't hit our heads. So sometimes it's high, it's up to 3 meters, and sometimes it's just 50 or 70 meters, centimeters high.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, most tunnels where people walk around, they have a comfortable size, so it's not uncomfortable. So it's very, and it has been made very, very easy to walk in there, and then very well signs everywhere, so you cannot get lost in there. Otherwise, you would get lost because it's a labyrinth, as I say.
Wow.
And so now, yeah. So what happened is those megaliths in there have a very specific and important role, because what happens, this energy which is created through the flow of those rivers underneath, they create an energy, electricity, which hits the megalith. And sometimes, as we know, those energies are not always very good. As we know, if you sleep over one of those underground water flows, it may be very, very bad for you. I mean, people get cancer and all kinds of illnesses because they don't know often that it's very bad to do that. In ancient days, people knew much more about it than we do today, but it's coming back. So anyway, so what can I say? Yes, those megaliths, what they do, they neutralize that energy and turn it into positive energy, and turn it into positive ions, negative ions. It's the place where they found the highest concentration of negative ions maybe in the world today. And not only that, since it was discovered 2006 to now, it has gone up every time higher and higher. Now it's gone exponentially higher. From last year to this year, it's almost doubling. It's unbelievable what is going on in there. It's a big mystery. The latest recordings which have been done, it's now beginning of June, and we have come to areas where they had up to 140,000 negative ions per square centimeter.
Wow.
I mean, this is something never seen. I mean, you and I, we are sitting in a room, we may have 200, 300 negative ions in a square centimeter. You go up into town, maybe 400, 500. You go up to the countryside, 1,000, maybe 2,000. You go to the seaside, it's maybe 3. Up to the mountains, maybe you're lucky, you get 3,000, 4,000. And that's it, more or less. And then maybe at the Niagara Fall, you get 10,000 or 12,000. And that was the highest so far. But here you enter into the tunnels and you get already 18,000 negative ions. I mean, even outside of the tunnel, it's already higher than everywhere else. And then never mind when you go in. And then we have a healing chamber, which is the highest mostly. The K2 megalith, also, that's a very potent place, very powerful. And so what does it do? Negative ions heal people. It's a healing energy. It's a highly healing energy. So people go there now by throws from all over the world just to get healed because they get so many amazing experiences there. And we have now people and scientists outside in small little huts, which are their doctors there who take your aura, your Kirlian photography, and all other measurements before and after you have been inside the tunnels. So once you return from the tunnels, having been there an hour or two, then you have another test, and then they see immediately the changes. I mean, that's science is showing that, it's not just an illusion. And then, but it's even more when you drink the water from the pyramids or inside the tunnels where they're getting the water, very high level of energy, then even more. But then if you go and walk on top of the pyramid of the sun and the moon and come back again after all this, after several days, and measure your aura again, my God, it goes up I have never seen something like it, but we had a few years ago someone who was measuring our aura before and after. And at the end, I mean, everybody had at the beginning an aura of 1.5 meters, 1.2, 1.8 meters, something like that. Yeah. But at the end, we had it up to 12 meters or more.
Wow.
No, 18 meters. And it's another, I mean, it's just crazy what's going on there. But you feel it. The good thing is you feel on top of the world. You feel so full of energy. You feel so happy. You feel full of euphoria because it's your whole body has got the opportunity to heal itself because of the energy. It has such a strong energy, that place. And then you can see it even in nature. Nature is so abundant there. It's very lush, it's very green, it's very healthy, you know. So even nature and animals, everybody takes advantage of that.
Wow. And what's your role? Why do you go every year? What are you doing there?
Well, my role is, first of all, when I went there in 2011, I realized there were people from all over the world there, volunteers, and there was not one Spanish person there. And I was the only one from Spain. So I thought, well, this has to change. Obviously, they don't know about this. So when I came back, I started talking about it, and people were thinking, what? The Bosnian Pyramids, never heard about it. So then I started giving talks and lectures. And that's when people started getting interested. And then the year after that, half a year later, I invited Dr. Sam to come here to Barcelona. So he came to Barcelona and we organized him, a conference and a workshop and all kind of interviews, radio interviews and all other kind of interviews. Newspapers wanted to interview him, and the last minute everybody was starting going back, saying, oh, no, we don't want to lose our job. Because what I forgot to say is, since he discovered this incredible discovery, Dr. Sam has been, I've never seen someone having gone through such abuse especially from the scientific community. Yeah. Really abuses. And they lied and lies. And he talks about it in a very beautiful, I love his, that's a very interesting conference he gave in America. And it's where it's called, where he tells it all, and how it really was and how it went and what they said. And the worst of all was Zahi Hawass, the pharaoh of Egypt. Yeah, Zahi Hawass. Yeah. He was the biggest enemy of all. It was just, he started the whole thing. He saw it coming as a big threat for Egypt. Yeah. So, and he saw it, of course, from the economic point of view. And they earn so much money every year in Egypt just by people coming from all over the world to visit the pyramids and the whole Egypt. So, it's about 6 billion or trillion, 6 billion a year or something like that. So he didn't even want to lose 1/10 of it. Not even that they wanted to give to the Bosnian Pyramids. So he said, we have to do something. So he sent someone there. Yeah. Yeah. The right person. You know about that?
No, I haven't heard that, no.
No? He sent one scientist or an archaeologist who is a very high caliber one. He's right hand. And sent him there and said, oh, go and find out what's this all about. So this man went there, I don't know his name. So when he went there, he stayed for a few weeks, really testing everything and going through every little grid to find out what are they even made of, the material, the binding material in between, those big blocks and the small blocks, especially on the Moon Pyramid. And then he said, oh, we have got this same binding material in Egypt. Wow. You got it too. So anyway, finally, at the end of his journey, he has an interview with a television crew. I don't know if it was from Bosnia or Croatia or one of these countries. So they came to interview him. And then he says, yes, I say this is man-made pyramid, definitely. This is man-made. This material is man-made. This is not natural.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest mistake he did, because the moment he went back to Egypt, to Cairo, and presented himself over there, he was kicked out by Sahi Hawass. How dare you giving a statement without my personal permission? Of course, he would have waited for his permission. He wouldn't have given it.
Yeah.
He would have had to lie. So he was kicked out. I mean, the man lost his job.
Wow.
And then he immediately went to the government and got all the ministers together and had a meeting with them and said, look, we have to do something about this. This is a big threat for us. And then he wrote a decree, sent it to all the main archaeologists in each country of Europe and maybe around even America probably, and said that it is absolutely forbidden for any archaeologist to go and dig in Bosnia.
Wow.
Because if they do so, they will lose their job, they will lose their titles, they will lose everything, their studies, everything, for nothing. They won't get any jobs anywhere in the world. So that was like going back, sounds a bit like the Catholic Church in the 15th century.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So they would get excommunicated from the archaeological society. Anyway, so this is what happened. And that's why they were all paid and they were all hustled. I mean, they couldn't say what they wanted. They couldn't go there without fear of losing their jobs, which is not, they would then invent anything just to not to lose their jobs. So this is not scientific.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why they invented so much lies upon lies upon lies and ridicule. And I tell you something, I've never met in my whole life somebody who has such a stamina in 13 years, having gone through all these insults and everybody against him, even his own government, even his own scientists in his own country, they were all viciously against him.
Wow.
And he says, am I going to throw the towel? This is my dream and I know it's real and I know it's true. Am I going to give up my ideal? I mean, this is the reality. This is truth. And he continued. And in spite of it, today, it's one of the most successful excavation place in the whole world. I mean, we've never seen so many people, so much enthusiasm. People from all over the world come every year, up to 100,000 now, I think, between 50 and 100,000 tourists every year. And then not only that, we have got so many volunteers helping every year, more and more from all over the world. So this is a fantastic plus. So next thing, after he discovered these things, he discovered another layer of tunnels further down, another 20 meters further down, another entrance to another layer of tunnels. And now since many years, he has been working together with the seers, because he says where science is short, we cannot today use only scientific criteria.
Yeah.
We have to use also the science of the mind, of the feeling, of the telepathy, of people who have a capacity beyond our normal limited mind. And then so he has been started to work with these people. So you have to have science, but you have to have also archaeology, the physical side, the science, and the spiritual side. Because if you don't put those three together, you won't find anything.
Yeah.
It's close to our mind, and that's the big drawback today. So here is one place in the world which is open to any kind of new discoveries, totally open. No, no opinions. I mean, here it's science, and he's always backing it with science, science, science. Science is saying that, spiritual saying that, and the physical proof is this, and we have it all. So, I mean, that's why we are making these enormous discoveries now, which are going to be marvelous for the rest of the world. But who built all this? Now comes the thing. Who built this?
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
That's the next question. This is not built by human beings like you and I. That's for sure. I mean, it's so huge. I didn't even mention the park of the spheres. We have 2 parks of stone spheres, you know, where they found those enormous stone spheres. And in one of them, 2 years ago, was discovered the largest one in the world, 3 meters diameter, huge. It's exactly like in the movie, you know, with what's it called? Anyway, so it's one of those movies where they show these enormous stone balls rolling, and so the thing is, all this, what does it? Who built it? Which ancient, how do you say? Which society? Which ancient culture did this?
Yeah,
We don't know that. It's definitely pre-diluvium. So we found places on things which are 12,000 years up. Everything goes further, further up and up and up. So that means it was there even before the last flood. Yeah, much more. It may have gone through several floods. We don't know yet. We are just scraping the surface. You know, it may be much older. I mean, in my opinion, it's very much older. But anyway, that's my personal opinion. But so we are up to a lot of surprises in the next few years. Do
you go there every year?
Every year, yes.
For how long would you spend there?
Oh, anywhere between 1 week, 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that.
Well, what's the Bosnian government say?
Well, now they're in favor. You know why? Because they see, this is bringing in people. This is bringing in money. And what? I mean, after the war, poor little country of Bosnia has been in a real dire strike. I mean, it was terrible, the condition it was left. And so this is a fabulous opportunity for this little country to recover from this awful war, which was imposed on them in a way.
Is anybody doing a documentary or a book on this? To try to document?
On the pyramid?
On the Bosnian pyramid story. Is there anybody doing a documentary or a book on this? To document it?
There are so many books and so many documents and documentaries. If you go into Bosnian pyramids and just YouTube, it goes on and on and on. And right now we are starting to translate them into Spanish. So we have had quite a few already translated them. The last one was the one I like best. Is the where he tells it all, and a part of that, Mexicans have been very good. South Americans are very, very on it at the moment, translating a lot of those videos. I mean, there are so many. If you just go into Google or into YouTube and find out Bosnian Pyramids, Dr. Sam Osmanagic, you will find a lot of material.
Has Van Doniken been there?
Has he got what?
Is Eric Van Doniken been there and looked at it?
Yes, he was there, in fact, 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and interesting, when he came, he brought his own team. I mean, they were filming him, and while he was walking with Dr. Sam through the tunnels, and they were having a conversation, and Sam was always explaining everything and so on. So then suddenly you see in the video, you see the most incredible thing. Thousands and thousands of orbs coming and going and up and down and back and forward. I mean, it's not the first time. I mean, we have been filming this a lot inside the tunnels, and especially when you open a new tunnel, which is very powerful, where they found the biggest slab or biggest part of megalithic area. It was for weeks. Were coming thousands and thousands per minute, like that, streaming out orbs, lights. And I mean, even with your mobile phone, if you film it, I mean, you could see them.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
But and you go in there and you photograph. And I have one photograph with such a huge orb on top of my head, big like that, sitting on one of the megaliths. And the orbs are huge in there, some of them.
Wow.
And especially where people are having conversations or there's something going on and they love it and they love good vibes and so on. It's really a part of that. I mean, I could go on and on. My experiences were breathtaking. I had amazing, deep experiences in there.
Can you give me one example of something that really spectacular happened when you were there?
Yeah. First of all, the first time when I went there, and I spent quite a lot of hours in there, I just didn't want to go out anymore. I just wanted to stay in there. It was just so blissful. And then I wanted to be more and more on my own. So I was cleaning at the time, the tunnels, helping to clean up the tunnels because National Geographic was going to come. And so we had to prepare it. And I was there, but absolutely in bliss. And the more alone I was, the happier I was. One morning, when I got my things to go and work, my glove and my brush and the spatula and so on and so forth, my stuff there. So, and then that morning I said, I don't need the brush. No. Today I'm not going to take the brush because it's too many items in my hand. I can't, it's not very practical. So I'll leave the brush behind today. So, and then I walk in 250 meters down inside and go to K1, to the K1. K1 is the first megalith they found out. So I was around there and I was cleaning and so on, and it was beautiful. And at the end, I thought, then a group of people came, and I thought, oh, I'm not going to do any noise. I'll continue a little bit forward and on inside the tunnel because that was a bigger room here, but I'll go and continue so I don't disturb them. But then I forgot about it, and I continued cleaning on the tunnel. And I was absolutely in bliss. I was just, I don't know where I was, but it was like I had a constant conversation with someone. It was like something was happening, and I felt beings around me. At one moment, I was tapped on my shoulder, and I was said, you have to go back, you forgot. You haven't finished K1 yet. And I thought, yes, you're right. They're talking to me. I was like absolutely in bliss. Well, anyway, I went to K1, finished it, but then happened another thing. There's a bench around it so people can meditate.
Okay.
Around it. So it's a bench, and it was all dirty. Then it was all full of stuff and dust, and from the. So I thought, oh, I need to clean this, and I thought, oh no. This moment, now I really would have needed my brush, my hand brush. And I didn't bring it. Oh, no, I have to go back. And so I have to get out of here. And I'm so well here. And I have to go back to the entrance, 250 meters. I have to walk through the tunnels to go and get that brush. So, all right, I was ready to go and get the brush when I suddenly look in my left hand. The brush was on my hand.
Oh, wow.
No, I know. I almost flipped out. I thought, this is too much. I know I left it there this morning. I know I didn't bring it with me. So I thought, all right, I got it and brushed it all and made it beautiful, and everybody was happy. But a part of that, I photographed them. 1 year later, I came back. I photographed the tunnel, and on one place, there was a wheelbarrow, an old one, wooden one.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, funny, they changed it from this tunnel entrance to this one. All right. And then I stood there and started photographing it, flash. And when I did the flash, suddenly I see a red flash on my camera. Red flash. I mean, you know, like here, it's red flash. I thought, this is weird. And in this moment, I click. So I did a series of about 5 different photographs where every time it was getting bigger and bigger. What happened is on the photograph, I saw a milky substance forming like a web, like a cobweb, but it was getting every time denser and denser. And at the end, it was pretty dense, like a thing like that. And this moment, I was calling a friend of mine. I said, "Come and see this." So he was coming running, and the moment he came close, it disappeared.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And if you knew the stories people tell me, oh my God, people have had such an incredible experiences. Beautiful.
Wow.
And mostly they see tall beings, blonde, tall, with white tunics, blue eyes. These are the type of beings and normally there are lots of light beings. I mean, it's a very spiritual place. For me, it's a holy place. I mean, people have to go in there with respect, in fact, because it's a really holy place. It's a beautiful, and it's a healing place. These beings are there healing people, helping people to heal.
Wow. You've almost got me wanting to go there to check this out. That's
you have to
fascinating stuff.
You
fascinating.
Must go there.
Wow. And so you're going to talk about all this in Laughlin. You're going to go through what we talked about.
I don't know how much time I will have to talk about this because at the same time, another subject which is very close to my heart is also the one of Mexico. My God, if you knew what happened there. In Mexico, I mean, the first person who talked about it, from whom I heard about it, is Klaus Dohner. I don't know if you know Klaus Dohner. He's an Austrian, very famous man who gives conferences all over the world about orbs. They're called, objects which are out of place and time.
Okay.
Yeah? So he's one of the greatest specialists on this, and he's Austrian, and he's a very close friend of Sam. And I mean, one meets there lots of wonderful people, really amazing scientists and researchers and historians and so on. So yeah, because Sam also gives those conferences, international conferences every year now.
Yeah.
So all these marvelous people are coming there. And also scientists like Valery Uvarov from Russia and many others. I mean, it's nonstop. So what happens is that these people are contributing to more and more discoveries.
Wow. Fascinating.
And then Klaus Dohner was the one who first, in 2012, showed a discovery made in Mexico, which just blew me away. I thought, this is unbelievable. A total proof of a stone library on which you see drawings in such details of extraterrestrial civilization who came on this planet and how they came on this planet and how they started to create a human being.
Wow.
And how they did all the genetics. It's in detail there. And and then half a year later, I get, through my website, I get lots of people writing to me from all over South America and Spain. And then one day somebody writes to me from Mexico and starts sending me those pictures.
Yeah.
I said, wow. So I think this is incredible. First Klaus Dohner, now they are sending me all these pictures. And some of them I was so frustrated because they're old and some of them are very damaged.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are very badly photographed and not very sharp or badly, because they're stones, so they're not flat. And so sometimes you see one part very sharp and the rest isn't. And so I was very frustrated about it. And then I decided I'm going to draw them. I'm an artist by profession. I've been an artist all my life, and especially specialized on portraiture.
Okay.
And so I thought, well, I'm going to start. And now I have over 300 drawings I've done of those.
Wow.
It's a library. It's what I have learned out of that is absolutely marvelous. And I would love to share this, because this is so important for people to see, because what it does, it activates your ancestral memory, your DNA, it activates it. And memories come back. And I know that whole story. I know that, but for example, I know I can read the writing. I know that at one point in my many lifetimes, I even wrote those writings, maybe.
Wow.
And I get frustrated because I don't remember.
You have these on your website? What's your website?
No, those drawings are nowhere yet.
Oh, okay.
Not yet. Because first of all, I was asked to write a book about it.
Okay.
And I haven't written yet the text, and that I'm on that also whenever I have time. And so that is a fascinating subject, which now this person, Dr. Pablo Garcia from Mexico, he just yesterday sent me an amazing recording, and he said, now, I know that about half a year ago, last year in October, three scientists came, Russian scientists, and they, for the first time, they came to really to investigate this whole subject. So what they came out with, and he just received everything from them, that one UFO sculpture, small one, they took the glue, some glue, which was in between two parts together. They found out it was made of pine resin.
Okay.
The pine resin, but then they found out it's not only pine resin, it's so ancient that it petrified, or it became it became amber. Amber is fossilized pine tree sap.
Wow.
Yeah? So it is fossilized, so it's like amber. And then they found out, the latest news he sent me yesterday, is 49,990 years old.
Wow. Unbelievable.
So this is going to be a huge revolution, even for Mexico, and that means that culture goes that far back, and I'm sure much older. But at least we have got that kind of proof now, scientifically proven.
Wow. Well, I think people are going to be very excited to see you in Laughlin and hear this, because